I want to welcome you all to the Cecil Norris garden. This is my first time doing a video. Not my first time doing a garden, but first time doing a video. We've constructed a garden here in memory of Cecil Norris. He was a dear friend of ours that recently passed away in a horrible accident, but he loved gardening, so we decided to construct this garden in memory of Cecil. So here it is. I'm going to walk you through it, and hopefully you can get a few pointers and a few ideas from what we did. So starting with the fence, we simply had 1-bys, 8-foot long, 16-foot longs, and we constructed it similar to a horse pasture fence that you would see encasing horses or cows or something. And then we used that as like a face to nail this PVC coated chicken wire with 1-inch hex. It's about 5 feet tall, maybe a little bit taller in some spots, and it's in the ground 6 inches. So far there's been no animals, no critters have gotten into the garden. For the post, instead of going out buying post, we simply went and cut down some cedar post, which of course these are the best posts you could use. They're naturally weatherproof treated. They're about 8 feet tall, and we put them in the ground 2 feet all the way around. As you can see, this is what the fence looks like. It takes a lot of work digging the holes, but in the end it's worth it. Here for our gate, we simply constructed just a common ordinary gate, nothing too complicated, with that center beam for support on both ends. On the other side, we simply used some hinges that we bought at Lowe's. Inexpensive, not too complicated, just secure it to the post, and you secure it to the gate, overlap it over top the PVC coated chicken wire, and of course it's all the way down, and same on the other side as well. So not too complicated, pretty easy. Here we just had one overlap the other, so it acts as a barrier when it closes. This one stays shut until we need to bring in a truck to drop off manure for next year, so we only use one. So as you can see around the outside, we put that board on the bottom of the ground, which helps keep animals out, and plus the chicken wire is in the ground 6 inches, so it's a lot of work, but it's well worth it. So inside the garden, we've put down these bivy sacks, which are real tight knit, but yet let water get through, but it holds the weeds down. We've also used grass clippings, and as you can see, it does help keep the weeds down. The rows are relatively clean. So with these bivy sacks and with the grass clippings, it works really well. And we alternate these bivy sacks every week in different rows, and in about a week's time, it cuts down on the weeds. So all of our rows are raised beds, which I believe work the best when it comes to having good depth in your soil, and it also basically helps the water drain really well, and it gives you better walking space. So you use all your soil. We rake the piles up with an iron rake, so it's a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end. Here in the corner, or each corner, we have onions, and we have cherry tomatoes. In each corner we have that. One over there in the far corner, and then this near corner. It's aesthetically looking, looks nice, plus it serves as a good little bed. So you want to try to use all the space in your garden. You don't want to leave anything unused. Here in the first row we have zucchini and squash. As you can see, they are just going to town. We started this garden sometime around March, started constructing it. We didn't start planting until about the second week of May. Today is the first week of June, so it's really doing good for about a month and a half in the ground. As you can see, there's already some yellow squash starting to grow on the plant. Again, the plants are doing well. We really used natural fertilizers, all we used. We didn't add no topsoil to the garden. We just got a big trailer load of horse manure. It was aged horse manure. Here we have a pepper plant. It's a yellow pepper. I believe it's a yellow banana pepper. And we have a couple of those right here. They're doing good, really green and lush. Next, we have some cherry tomato plants. As you can see, it's already outgrowing the cage. We're going to have to figure something out here. We got sticks in there trying to keep the plant up from falling over, and it's working. So, again, it's just going to town. We got some more cherry tomato plants here. I believe there's already some tomatoes starting to form. I'm looking for them. I don't see them. Yeah, down there. See, they're already starting to form, so they're really doing good. Another cherry tomato plant. Here we have 4 Sugar Babe watermelon plants, and this one's starting to spread out now. We got one there, one there, one here, and then one here. And they take a lot of heat to get going. So, again, in the corner we've got more onions, and they're just going to town. Another cherry tomato plant. My cages that I used were just old fence that I found, or you can go purchase some old fencing material. Don't go out and buy the flimsy Lowe's tomato cages. They're flimsy and expensive and don't work. These work really good. Just go to old fence company and you go out and get yourself pretty much as you want. So here we've got some collard greens. Planted these by seed. They're doing really good. They're looking healthy and they're starting to grow. This is really the only section that didn't come up. This was carrots. As you can see, the carrots are coming up. It's not as bountiful as we would hope. So we've got 2 rows of carrots left and right here. So it's coming up, doing pretty good. So, and then it stops there, and we've got onions. Plenty of onions to last us for quite some time. So we've got onions, carrots, and collard greens in one row. And all the corners have onions as well. Again, we've put these baby sacks down to keep the weeds down. This row we've got potatoes all the way down to the very end down there. Red potatoes. And the way we did this is we dug down really deep in the ground, placed a potato in the ground, and then throughout the weeks we just covered up. Whenever it would grow, we'd cover up with soil. So they're in the ground about 3 feet. So they're doing really good. So hopefully we'll be able to harvest quite a few potatoes. And that's what you want to do with your potatoes. You want to just keep mounding dirt up as long as you can until the blooms form on them. Here are some jade bush beans, and we've got 2 rows of beans, and that helps the other bush for support versus just having 1 row. We've done 2 rows, so it helps for support, and they're not too close together. We're just gonna have a lot of beans, that's all. And they go all the way down, and they're doing really healthy, looking very nice. It's starting to rain on me. There's my pop right there. He's been helping me in the garden.
Hello, whoever you are.
YouTube. Here we've got, it's starting to rain. I might have to come back and do this later. But we've got our cucumbers right here, which we've decided to put them in cages this year. And instead of them lying down on the ground like these 2 are, which we have to get cages, they're going to crawl up the cages and probably crawl down the outside of the cage. And they're doing really good as well. We've already got some blooms. We've got little cucumbers already forming on them. So again, this fencing material is real cheap. I would recommend it for anybody who wants to cage tomatoes or cucumbers. So as you see, we've got plenty of cucumbers to last us for some time, and they're just going to town, real healthy looking. All we've used for fertilizer is the manure, and we've used some 10-10-10 all-purpose fertilizer. Here we've planted by seed just because we ran out of the plants that we transplanted out here, and they're doing really good as well. The next row over, we've got more zucchini plants and squash. We got zucchini and yellow squash, and again, it's doing really good. They're nice and green, and blooms are just going to town. So we're real excited about how it's turning out. Each plant has about 1 or 2 blooms on them. So some of those are pollinating blooms and some of those are fruit blooms. Once the plant gets big enough, you actually can tear off the pollinating bloom, because all the sustenance and all the energy goes to building the plant. And once it's grown, you can take off those blooms that are simply there for pollinating. For example, this bloom right here is simply pollinating. There's no fruit behind it. It's simply to pollinate the plant. This one down here, though, is for a fruit. So, just FYI. Here, we've got a whole row of pepper plants all the way down as far as the eye can see almost. We've got green peppers, we've got bell peppers, we've got red peppers, then we have the banana peppers. So they're doing really good. We've put some nitrogen around them, put grass clippings, and that really puts nitrogen into the soil. They're doing really good. We've got peppers and blooms already starting to form. There's some blooms there, and here's a little green pepper right there starting to form on it. So they're doing good, and praise the Lord for that. Not that big, but they're healthy though. Here we've got a whole row of tomato plants. We've got regular like beefsteak tomatoes, we've got red tomatoes, orange tomatoes, and yellow tomatoes. Again, we've just simply used the fence material, and it's working well. We put sticks in there. We've got tomatoes already forming. We've got blooms blooming. So there's a good view of them. They're already starting to outgrow the cages. They look really healthy. Got big stalks, and you want to make sure you don't water too much, because if you water too much, your roots won't dig down deep, and you won't have a good stalk, and you won't have deep roots. So you want to make sure you water about 1 inch a week, roughly. Too much water is not good. So here's a trellis that me and my pot made. We simply got some cast iron rods about 10 feet tall, roughly. We've got 5 of them, and we've staked them in the ground about 1 foot or 2, almost maybe actually 3 feet. We went to Lowe's and got some twine and just made a trellis. It's time consuming, but it works. These are snow peas, but they're running snow peas. As you can see, they're already 1/4 of the way up the trellis, so they're already attaching on. It's really cool how it works. You see there, it's already grabbed on, so it's really amazing how this works. All the way down, we have peas. So we're gonna have plenty of peas. We've got plenty of trellis space for them to grow, and they like cool weather, so just want to be cautious in the summertime. Sometimes they won't grow that good when it's real hot. All right, next row we've got more beans. What we did here is we got 3 rows of beans actually in this row, 2 on the side, 1 in the middle. It's a little overkill, but some of the beans weren't coming up, so we planted some later in the season. These are actually Purple Hull butter beans is what they are. So, and they're bush style. So again, as you can see, the different styles on the left and the right, and then one in the middle, different genre, different type of bean. So as you can see, it's doing really good, and it's all on raised beds, and real healthy looking. So we've got 2 more rows. The next row we have our okra, which okra can get about 5 to 6 feet tall, and you want to pick that when the okra is about 3 inches. No bigger, or it's going to get really nasty and it'll be too firm and too hard to eat. You want it to be tender. So we've got plenty of okra. We're going to have okra coming out our ears. I need to thin it out here soon, but here is a row of okra. As you can see, it's doing really good as well. Praise the Lord for that. Here, it's okra stops, and we've got crookneck squash from there on out. Funny story is I planted Brussels sprouts here, and they took 30 days to germinate roughly, and I didn't know that. So I dug it up and just planted something else. And then we have Brussels sprouts coming up beside the crookneck squash. So we're going to have a little bit of both, which works out well. Planted these by seed, and they're doing really good. So I'm happy about that. And there's some more Brussels sprouts. Again, in the corner, we've got raised bed. We've got onions and some more cherry tomatoes. Here's our corn. Got another funny story for you. You can see where the corn is. There you go. Where the corn is small here, and then all of a sudden it shoots up about 1 foot, and it's tall all the way down. From here, the short part, all the way back is in the shade certain part of the day.
Get my turnips.
Yeah, I'll get your turnips. Which I'm amazed at how much sun this corn needs. So you got to put your corn in sun. Make sure you do about 3 or 4 rows, or it won't germinate properly. We've got 4 stalks all the way down. Some people say it might be crowded, but it's doing really good. It's healthy. It's nice and green and vibrant. So again, make sure your corn has sun, or it's going to look like this, and you're going to wonder why it's not growing. You can fertilize it all day, but if it ain't got sun, it ain't going to work. So again, I'm no professional. I'm just talking from experience, and that's not a lot. Here, we've been creative with our garden. We put a little bed inside here. It's for turnips, and you can do that with anything. You can put onions, turnips, anything that's small, you know, carrots, that doesn't need a lot of room, and you can do this around the entire garden, and you would have so much more space. We're starting to put a few more in here. So if you're creative with your garden, it's a lot of fun, and it's so rewarding. Again, we have another corner bed here in the corner of the garden. More onions and more cherry tomatoes. So this is our garden. I hope you learned something. I hope it inspired you, you know, to be creative with your garden and to make it into an art, because it's an art. You know, it's a lovely thing. It's a lot of work, but you can make it look beautiful. You can turn it into art, and you can be creative with your own imagination. Here we've just strung up some tin pots and some pans to keep the birds out and stuff, and it works. So it's reflective and it's noisy. Before I go, I want to talk about our irrigation system. We've used these Hunter sprinkler heads. We've piped it down into the ground, and we've got irrigation pipes going down that way, going this way, and going down. We've got 4 corner heads that spray 30 feet into the middle, and they have a 90-degree angle. And then we've hooked it up in the corner there, and it goes up there to the pump house. You got to turn it on manually when you want it, but it works wonderful. If you got the money or the time to install it, I would encourage you to install it. It saves you time and it saves your garden. Outside the garden, we've got some flowers in memory of Cecil. We've got 6 flowers, so all the way down. It helps it keeps the bugs out, and keeps they're marigolds, and they help keep bugs out too. So plus it's pretty. So recommendation. Yep, and my pop just put a watermelon raised bed out there, so it's doing really good. He's put a cage around it so nothing can get it. So anyways, I hope you learned something, enjoyed it. We did use a little bit of over-the-top 7 dust. We had some pests get in here. I know some of y'all are eco-friendly and you're green only, all natural, but we've only used a little bit and did it before the blooms and before the fruit got on there. So anyways, you do what you got to do to keep your garden from the pests and the animals, and let them have a little bit as well, but you try to go as natural as possible. So anyways, hope you learned something, and I'll probably do another video once it's even progressed even more along the way. So anyways, coming live from Winchester, Virginia, this is the Cecil Norris Garden, and I hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you soon. God bless.